You can call in any financial miracle you desire. You just have to really zone in on accepting the reality that you've created, because in that acceptance, you untether yourself from everything you've done in the past so that you can create exactly the future that you want for tomorrow. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today, I'm going to talk to you about how do you call in that financial miracle that you are looking for. And this is not about playing the lottery. This is not waiting for the inheritance. This is about how do you shift your energy inside of you that draws the miracle to your life financially. And it could work in other areas of your life as well. Before we get there, I want you to hit that subscribe, like, and notification bell. Why? Because I'm going to help you get to a life that you absolutely love. And by all means, go to juliemurphy.com and be part of this community to support you to get you to where you want to be. We have all kinds of support tools for you. So as we get started here and talking about this financial miracle and how do we call this in, I'm going to actually share my screen in a presentation that I gave. And the second step in my process, in my book, Awaken Your Wealth, which if you see, that's the board behind me. Some loving soul wrote the quote, if Warren Buffett and Gandhi ever had the opportunity to write a book together, it would result in something like this. And I am so grateful for whoever that reviewer is, because I really do believe that that encompasses exactly the work that I do. And so it's about integrating that right brain and the left brain and tapping into that heart in a concept that scientists would call coherence, where you have the heart and the mind in alignment with each other. So I'm going to share with you the second step in the PACT process is one of the most important components to actually call in that financial miracle for yourself. And what is it that I mean by that? So I am going to go ahead and share my screen here so we can have you take a look at three different ways. I want you to see this. These are the three different ways that you can actually look at your financial world. So PACT is the PACT process that I walk all of my clients through. The first step is picturing what it is that you want to create in your world. And that creates your compelling reason for change. The second step in the PACT process is accepting the reality that you've created, because in that accepting of what it is that you have financially today, that is the alchemy piece to calling in the miracle. This is, if you don't accept what's already been created, you're going to get jammed in your suffering cycles. And then we have to wake your soul back up, because there are ways and choices that you have made decisions in your life that are not in alignment with your heart and your soul. And so I find that if you're far away from your soul work in the world, that's when you call in bigger crises, whether it's a financial crisis, a health crisis, and collective. We actually even do that, not only in the countries that we live in, but also the world at large. Like, we call in these crises to shift in alignment with evolution and consciousness. So the first thing that I want you to look at in the second step in the PACT process, accepting reality, I want you to look at things from your financial past. And that I've often talked to that's your debts, whether you have mortgage debt, student loan debt, car debt, debt to family members, credit card debt, you name it. If it's something that you made a decision on yesterday that you still have to pay for in the present moment, that's your financial past. Now, remember, in this process, I want you to make sure that you are not really putting that shame, blame, guilt, and judgment. And I talk about all of that in my second book, my first book, which was The Emotion Behind Money. So if you really have to figure out how to get all those limiting beliefs, shame, blame, guilt, and judgment, well, a lot of that's covered in my first book. And again, you can go to juliemurphy.com, and I've got book funnels and all kinds of things there, workbooks, mini courses, online courses, and group coaching that you can join me in. But the financial past are your debts. And then the present moment, remember, that's how your money goes into your checking account and the expenses going out. Please note that I do not use the word budget. Why? Because a budget makes you feel like you're limiting. And if you have any emotion behind money or any way that you're acting out your emotions in your financial world, whether you're using it as a power play with a spouse or with employees, or you're the victim of the system, or however it is that you're plugging into the world, the present moment, we have to stay empowered. And this is where I want you to really think about the present moment as choosing your cash flows. And then your future, well, the future we really talk about a lot in the fourth step in the PACT process, is that's the T, taking action. And just briefly, that boils down to your short-term, midterm, and long-term, and take a look at it. So if I were to take a look at the past, present, and future, I want you to think about that when we come from a place too much of focusing on our financial past, when we're trying to accept the reality that we've created, you get imprinted with almost a state of depression. And that never feels good to anybody. It like weighs you down. I've never seen anyone happier than the day that they pay off their house, they pay off their student loans, they pay off their car. And because it's a burden, the past feels like a burden to many of us. And this is how our financial infrastructure actually keeps us trapped. Now, there's many financial professionals out there. Just had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day who's a corporate finance guy. And he's like, why would you not borrow the money and amplify your business? You can, but it is a burden that you have to pay for. And you can come up with a game plan of exactly how to pay for that. But remember, tomorrow is never exactly how you mapped it out today. So you have to make sure you have space and be nimble to move. Now, in the present moment, think about that's living in the now. It's like, how do I have to create space for myself here and now to be able to get into the flow of life? One of the things you constantly hear if you're in a spiritual practice or meditation or prayerful and religious, it's always about like living in the now. Well, how do you do that, living in the now, when you have so much past that you're paying for? It's really hard to live in the now. I remember years ago, I was speaking on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., and I had these men and women from Congress sitting there asking me, how do we get Americans to save more money? And I sat there and I'm going, you're asking the wrong question. Because how can they save more for retirement when they're barely living in the present moment because they're trying to clean up their financial past with all the debt that they have? And this is the challenge. But regardless, remember, the second step in the process is you have to accept the reality that you've created. In that acceptance is the alchemy piece that creates the financial miracle that you are all starving for. In the future, if you focus too much on that, well, then that just creates a whole heck of a lot of anxiety. We've got a whole lot of that going on with the market volatility and things in these natures. So the next piece that I want you to take a look at is, so how do we look at the world at large? So financially, I've kind of categorized that we have people that would be considered to be poor, who really can't meet their daily needs from their cash inflows. And then you have people who are the debtors. Then we have the dreamers, the accumulators, and then what I call rich but empties. And in my next book that is coming out, I'm going to be talking about this concept called real wealth. And real wealth, and I call this entire chain of economic choice points because they are points that you choose to stay in. Now, I did not grow up in a wealthy family whatsoever. I made choices all along the way to create a different reality for myself. Now, did that come with a smooth road? Absolutely not. There are times that I had food stamps growing up and I was on welfare, and my dad and mom worked extremely hard, but life happened, right? I have 11 brothers and sisters. Life happened. But if I choose to get hooked or stay on any of those challenging pieces from yesterday, well, then I'm going to repeat the patterns of the past and I'm going to have that exact same experience in my future because that's all I focus in the present moment. If we focus in on our past, then we create the past in our present moment, and that's what's planting the seeds for our future. Now, some people think that this economic choice point that I talk about in my courses and in my life coaching, that if you are a debtor, then you have to go to a dreamer and then you have to go and be an accumulator, then, and it's like this long road. I am here to tell you, no matter where your reality is today, you absolutely do not have to have this be a linear line. It can be a quantum leap. And I've watched so many people do that. And it only happens when you tap into that heart and you tap into that soul. But you have got to let go of the tethering of what is keeping you stuck in your current reality. And that is the acceptance piece. Because while we're waking you back up and aligning you, we're waking you up and aligning you more with your soul, then we will actually be able to have those financial miracles coming in. It is super important for each and every one of you to understand that you are in control of all of this, that you are the one that can create a different reality for yourself. And until you decide that you're the one in charge and that you can actually let what I call your freak flag fly, because it is time for you to be exactly the version you are. We got to wake you up, align that heart with that smart brain of yours, and get you busy living the life that you came to earth to live. And then all the money follows. But this can be an absolute miracle. It can be alchemy. It can be exactly what it is that you desire. So I hope today was helpful in getting you a little bit more in the understanding and the belief that you can call in any financial miracle you desire. You just have to really zone in on accepting the reality that you've created, because in that acceptance, you untether yourself from everything you've done in the past so that you can create exactly the future that you want for tomorrow. And again, don't forget to go to juliemurphy.com. We've got, blogs that go out. Join the community. We are here to help. And you can go to awakenyourwealthbook.com, get the book for free. I also have a workbook to complement it to help you on your journey, mini courses, online courses. We're here to help. So we'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody.